I will not be taking any questions as the self-proclaimed anime guru. My knowledge trumps yours. Don't hate it. It's just facts. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what people are gonna be too afraid to say, and if you don't say it, you're damn crazy. But seriously, jokes aside, like, this is legitimately one of the greatest Isekai episodes I have seen. People want to try to claim recency bias and all the other nonsense. I'm sure they will. I don't care. I know what I like, and this hits checks every single freaking box. Legitimately a powerful, self-contained story. You could show this episode just to anyone who's never even seen this show, and it works as a self-contained short story. The twist with Eshe, just... the fact that she was the tree, the spirit all along, blew my mind, but it made it even more heartbreaking when you realize that had the village not gone off the deep end and tried to be toxic and profit off of the leaves that, you know, are these magical leaves that protect the village because the scumbag otherworlders smoked them up like they were marijuana, they decided to say, hey, that pot, we're gonna sell it ourselves. If they didn't go that route, I bet she would have, even though they casted her outside the village, I bet she still would have kept that tree going for them. But because they went toxic, she then cut them off. This is a legitimately bad ending episode. Like, it is heartbreaking. The stuff with Yamada, this hero, thought he was just going to be a generic nobody or kind of egotistical, get, you know, kicked on his ass and just, like, we'd move on. No, even his story was sad. But the icing on top is the fact that I was wrong. This whole damn show, I thought he had an unlimited pill bottle because of how many times he pops those pills trying to end his life. Nope, it actually did go empty this episode, and his reward for helping this tree? Infinite pills. You can't get any better than that. I, of course, have those full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thoughts to any of these no longer allowed in Another World episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, legitimately a 10 out of 10 episode. This is not only the best episode of the show, I think is one of the best Isekai episodes I've seen in a hell of a long time. And Sensei remains to be a top 5 character of this year. Like, questionable bastard, but top 5 character nonetheless. So, the story is so simple on paper, but it works so well because of that simplicity. As we know, the characters that are summoned into this world, 99% of the time are scumbags. They get in their own head, they do bad stuff, and they're not really that great of people. So a bunch of them came to this village, and basically, the best part about this episode is kind of like the idea of humanity and just how easily swayed we are. Now, granted, the characters in questions aren't human, but the same type of ideas apply. They very much acted like human, even if they don't look like it. And it's the idea of how thin the line between righteousness and evil truly is. Because what they were doing, the villagers weren't happy what the general casino folk were doing, but as soon as they're no longer there, they pretty much pick up arms and do the same thing. For caring about the spiritual, idea of their tree and their protector as much as they claimed, didn't take them long to switch over to profit mode as soon as they had the opportunity. The idea that you have this magical tree that is protecting the village. In comes a bunch of otherworlders. They build a casino. And the tragic twist, like, even before realizing that Eshe was actually the spirit of the tree, you just have this incredibly nice woman. Hot as hell, but like just a generally nice woman. And she's called this witch. And it's because at face value, it looks like she's like profiting, she's, intoxicating, and just doing these things to manipulate people for profit. And at face value, most people would probably be in that same boat, assuming as much, because that's how people are. We're not, it's easy to look at a show at face value and say, how could they miss the obvious signs? But we literally do it in our day-to-day life constantly. The idea that not only was she protecting them by not allowing, like taking care of them with their needs, alcohol, dances, whatever it is, not only that, so they wouldn't target the village and only target otherworlders, she also is paying them money. And the fact that, it's this tragic thing because at face value, Yamada, this hero, is getting all this praise for essentially doing the same thing she was, but she was the masked hero, the one who didn't get any praise and was just called this witch and a burden. And the fact that once money started drying up because there was less idiots, as they say, to manipulate, what ended up happening was they decided to, we'll kidnap a couple of the villagers, we'll get them to smoke up the leaves, we'll get them addicted, see how that goes, and we'll expand. Because they could easily move the casino at any point, and, I mean, the fact that we didn't even kill them means they're probably just going to set up shop again somewhere else with another ploy. May not be some magical leaves to smoke up in a cave, but still. The fact that by the end of that, we destroy it, the village is set free, and the fact that the only one who really had their eyes open was Yamada the hero, because he ultimately was like, wait, what are you talking about? Where everyone else is saying, oh, Sensei's just spouting a bunch of nonsense, why would we believe him? He's probably been indoctrinated by the witch, which, as much as you want to say, how could they not open their eyes? I mean, at the same time, she's literally been with and looked very close to the people they just threw out of their town. I understand why, and I can even understand their frustration. What I can't accept, and this is where it broke the camel's back for me, is when the village elder, they unwillingly tossed their hero, their protector, out of the gates. They then look at this man and say, hey, now that the leaves are going to come back even stronger, we're going to start selling them. We're going to start smoking them. We'll give you 10% of the profit. You just protect it. I felt so bad for this man. I'm sure some people are just going to laugh at his downfall, but that was actually tragic. You not only throw away the protector of the village, turns out the protector of the village is the damn tree, and she did not like your idea. And even this man, the only one who got a happy ending was Sensei. And his happy ending was an unlimited supply of suicide pills. The more I think of this episode, the more brilliant it is. We literally start this episode off on a Tama high. She was allowed to go adventuring after the whole dad stuff last week. She's being a cute moe blob, and then the episode ends with an actual bad ending. I'ma die on this hill. I don't care what people say. I don't care if people are going to try to say recency bias. I'm overhyping this show. It wasn't as good. I don't care what people say. This is my channel, damn it. And this was a top Isekai episode. Not the best overall, but if you're making a list, this is the type of episode that gotta go in that list. I will be rewatching this episode a couple of times before next week's episode, because that's how much I enjoyed it. We're 2/3 of the way through the show, for season 1 anyway, and if it doesn't get a season 2, crimes against humanity is all I'm saying. Let me know what you're feeling down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Hikari Lounge, Fletchbringer, Adol, Sologaki, Void, Subject 3, Rolia, and we also have Sarnik. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.